Folks, welcome to Everything Pro Wrestling. Everything Pro Wrestling is a show by the fans, for the fans. And I'm your host, Conrad Cushman, and we are back today with a review of Impact Wrestling Rebellion. Now, what I'm going to need for you guys to do for this show is if you are an Impact Wrestling fan and you want this to grow, do me a favor, please click the like button on this video. Also, make sure you leave a comment down below if you're watching it after it's live. It really helps people see the video, spreads it out more, and I think Impact Wrestling deserves more viewership than they're actually getting at this point. And yeah, I thought that we had a pretty alright show tonight. We're going to get into it and talk about it so that way you guys can hear my thoughts on it. But I want to hear people in the live chat. Right now I see we have Jesus De Leon in there, David B, and we've got Connor. So if you guys are in there, give me your thoughts on some of the matches and we'll kind of get into it. First and foremost, make sure you guys support Brainbuster Radio. Brainbuster Radio is a group of elite wrestling podcasts. All of that stuff will be down in the description box below. Make sure you guys check me out on Saturdays. I always have a podcast going up, which is different from my content on the podcast I do on Wednesdays. And you guys know tomorrow I'll be back with a Monday Night Raw review and Tuesday SmackDown review as things are standing right now. Also, show some love to my friends at Everything College Basketball. They've got a good podcast up. Shout out to Josh, Peyton, and Tyler. Let's get into this, though, folks. Let's get into this. Uh-oh. No spoilers about Endgame, Matt. I don't know if everybody in there saw it. I just saw it today, too, though. Good movie. Shout out to the Avengers. Let's get into this Impact Wrestling Rebellion show, shall we? So we start off the first match. It looked like it was a six-way match. With Jake Chris, Petey Williams, Cousin Jake, Ace Austin, Aiden Prince, I think was the other guy's name that I got, and Eddie Edwards. This was kind of like a big hodgepodge of good wrestlers and people who weren't on the show because of they didn't have an official storyline, but they've been doing stuff on Impact Wrestling. Okay match. It was kind of, I don't like these matches sometimes with all these guys in it, but I thought that the three people that stood out to me in this match were Eddie Edwards, Petey Williams, and Ace Austin. And you know what? Jake Chris did a good job too. Let me include him in there. So let me make that 4. Jake Chris did a lot of cutters in this match, were really good. A lot of springboard cutters. So shout out to him. Ace Austin. I wanted to bring this up. I saw this guy on MLW. And I've seen him in Impact Wrestling recently as well. This guy is really good. I have no complaints about Ace Austin. He sometimes does this like Gambit from X-Men gimmick where he comes out holding the Ace card. And you can see he comes out with the jacket. It screams Gambit from X-Men if you've been watching superhero shows and movies as long as I have. I like it though. He's a really good wrestler too. I think he showed me a lot tonight. He ends up picking up the victory after stealing the pen from Petey Williams hitting the Canadian Destroyer. So Ace Austin picks up the win, promoting some young talent. I like it. After this, oh, you know what? I do letter grades for the matches. In the description box, the letter grades will tell you what I think of each match and what each of them mean. I'm not going to put them in for every match on this, but I give it a grade of a C for that match. We got some people in here talking. King says, it's really better than TakeOver. What's your take on... Oh, well, we're going to talk about that, David. I promise you. I give it a C for that. So afterwards, we get Don Callis and Josh Matthews. They're reviewing, going over the entire card. And then we get to this discussion of Impact Plus. So with all of the hot stuff going around about Disney Channel having Disney Plus... Impact Wrestling needs to have their own thing, so they're going to have Impact Plus right now. And it looks like it's going to be kind of a streaming service that's going to start May 1st. So I don't know if this is a brand new one or if they're kind of upgrading the one that they currently have. But Impact Plus seems like it's something interesting, and I feel it's something they need to have, especially if they're going to continue being on Twitch and they're going to continue trying to do several different things as far as getting their product out there. So Impact Wrestling needs to get on the network, but I do like this move with Impact Plus. I just really feel like they're very underestimated because of their past history, and I think that stuff's coming up to haunt them, and people may not realize they have new management and some different things are going on here. Next, though, let's get into match number 2. Let's go into Rohit Raju versus Scarlett Bordeaux. So this was an intergender match, and if you have never seen Scarlett Bordeaux, you guys are probably going to want to Google her name, and you're going to have a really good time. She's very easy on the eyes, I shall say, but not a bad wrestler either. Scarlett Bordeaux went in there, and they had a really good match, these two. I thought that they did what they had to do. You got some corny stuff in there, a little bit of comedy too, with Fala being out there with Scarlett, but they had an all right match. Scarlett Bordeaux ends up picking up the victory over Rohit. C- match, not horrible, pretty decent, but these matches were all added on last minute too in the beginning of this show. Josh Burton says Scarlett is sexy. Josh, very hard to disagree with that, and that's Josh Burton from Everything College Basketball that I promoted in the beginning of this, so make sure you guys check him out. Let's get into the next match. This was a 6-man tag match. We had the Rascals, which is Trey, Dez, and Wentz, versus Ethan Page, Josh Alexander, and Moose. And these guys are going to compete in a 6-man tag match. Now, I don't watch Impact Wrestling on the weekly because I watch so many other different forms of it, but I have been catching these kind of promo segments where they're all around. I don't know if it's like smoke or what it's supposed to be. It looks like something else, I should say, with all the smoke coming up and everybody's laughing. But the Rascals were in there with Moose. They made fun of Moose, and this started all these problems. And then the North are trying to make a name for themselves, so they joined up with Moose. It all makes sense. And the Rascals are these high flyers, really good stuff. So we get into this. After they made fun of them, the North joined in on the beef with Moose. They're getting into it. With this match, I saw incredible athleticism for the most part. I thought the Rascals were very impressive. I wish they would slow it down a little bit, but the Rascals were out there doing their thing, getting their spots in. And the North, really good wrestlers. I was familiar with Ethan Page. Josh Alexander, I've seen his stuff via Twitter. Give us a follow at EPW Show as well if you guys didn't know. But Josh Alexander, very good. I like his in-ring style. And I like that he's wearing the headgear. Reminds me of the Steiner brothers and him going in there and doing that. So I appreciate this match. Moose comes in, and I like that when the Rascals are doing the flips over the top rope, Moose is so much bigger than these guys that he can catch them while they're doing these flips, and he just launched one guy into the guardrails. It looked like a brutal spot, but it made Moose look like an absolute beast. Very happy to see him get a good spot like that. Hopefully the guy didn't take too bad of a bump. I put this down too. The Rascals need more of an identity, I feel. They come out wearing like these baseball shirts. They got their names and stuff on it. But I want to know what makes each of them unique and different. I know that they're trying to make them a team and everything else. And it's good. I just want them to establish them more as characters. And maybe I'm missing something from not watching the shows weekly. But if you guys can help me in the chat, please tell me. I hate Moose as a heel. Explain more, Jesus, why you don't like Moose as a heel. But if you guys are in here, please share some of your thoughts on the show in the live chat. And if you like it, like I said, leave a thumbs up and comment. I see a lot of people in here, so I appreciate you guys checking this live review out. In the end, though, Moose ends up picking up the victory with a spear. They got hit with a lot of finishers. Really decent match. I gave it a C+. The show was starting to pick up at this point. And Jesus has answered back. He says, he's boring to me. He does nothing for me. He was better as a babyface. I don't mind Moose as a heel or a babyface. I think Moose is coming into his own. Moose has shown that he has a very, very unique skill set, and he's doing that. They smoke. You need to watch the whole show. That's what I was referring to, David. I figured out that just from watching it, that it's supposed to be like they're high and whatever. That's not the problem. I just don't understand all of the storylines because there is so much pro wrestling that you can watch that I don't have enough time to cram that into a week. Like, I watched NWA yesterday, and like I said, I review Raw, SmackDown. I do 2 podcasts. I do this. So sometimes I don't have time to watch every single bit of pro wrestling that I can. The last time I watched Impact was United We Stand before this, so it's difficult for me to try to watch all of this. But let's get back into this. So afterwards, we get Taya, Johnny Impact, and Johnny Bravo backstage, and they're talking with Melissa Santos about their upcoming world title match tonight, and it makes things quite interesting to see what we're going to have happen. And then Taya Valkyrie speaks on what the next match is going to be, which is her match for the Knockouts Women's Championship. So Taya Valkyrie is the current champion, and she is facing off against Jordynne Grace. 2 of my favorite independent women wrestlers right now. These ladies can bring it. If you've never watched them wrestle on Lucha Underground, Jordynne Grace competed in so many different places. Really good wrestlers and someone that you definitely want to check out. Yes, and King, you took the words right from my mouth. There's too much wrestling sometimes and it tires people out. 100%, bro. I'm trying to cover so many different things. Really over Tessa? No. I'm saying that these are 2 of my favorites from... It's just personal. I like Taya because I followed her from Lucha Underground, and Jordynne Grace is someone who I follow since she was on the independent scene. They're really good. And we'll get into who you were talking about, too. I watch Impact and highlight everybody else. And that's your preference, David. I get it. If you like Impact Wrestling, I'm not mad at you. I'm trying to put a spotlight on Impact Wrestling. I don't see too many other people trying to do that. But we get into this match. We get a really good back and forth match between these ladies. Jordynne Grace gets to show her power while Taya Valkyrie is also doing her thing. And she is being a heel, conniving, sniveling heel that nobody wants to have around. Jordynne Grace power bombs her on the apron in the beginning of this match. Taya Valkyrie works over her arm, trying to prevent her from doing her finisher. At one point, Jordynne Grace hits the Muscle Buster on Taya from grabbing her, you know, the usual style, and falls back. I thought it was over. 1-2. This is a close near fall. I thought Jordynne Grace was going to win the title here. But luckily, everything worked out, and my prediction worked out in my favor. With a chicken wing buster, Taya Valkyrie gets the win for the 1-2-3, and she retains her Impact Knockout Women's Championship. I give that a grade of a B-. Fun match, but there's still more to come with this. Now, we get a RVD promo highlighting that there's going to be an Extreme Impact taping this Friday. I assume it's going to be in Philadelphia. When I saw the word extreme. So Rob Van Dam is back in Impact Wrestling. And like I said, guys, I just did a podcast about RVD on 420, his top 10 matches in history that he's ever had, in my opinion. And Rob Van Dam is a good signing for Impact Wrestling. He's a name that people know, and Rob Van Dam is someone who I still think, if he gets the amount of time he needs to while he's in the ring, let him rest up when he needs to, Rob Van Dam could be a player that is useful to Impact Wrestling, and they need some people who can bring star power with the bigger names besides Johnny Mundo, Brian Cage, and some of these other guys. So good to see him in there. Now we get a Gail Kim promo backstage. Gail Kim does an excellent job hyping up her match. One of the most underrated performers, I feel, and it just, I'll get into it once I get into the Gail Kim match, but really good stuff here to set up her match with Tessa Blanchard later on in this show. We get to match number 5. This is where the show started picking up for me to where I was really enjoying it. Let's get back to this match. So this is for the X Division Championship, and it's a battle between 2 former friends, and they highlight the history between Rich Swann and Sami Callihan. Now, we find out that this match is going to be under OVE rules, so there's no DQs. It's kind of street fight style. Cool, we can take that. Rich Swann is the X Division champ defending against Sami Callihan. Sami Callihan is one of the most bastardly heels in Impact Wrestling. He is out there doing his thing, and we just have a classic street fight with these guys. I agree, Connor. I thought this match was good too. Minus one spot that I'm going to get into. And it's the spit spot. Oh my God. So Sami Callihan, you know, he does the spits right at the guy, hawks a nasty loogie, and afterwards Rich Swann grabs it and like eats it. Oh my God. Oh my God. It was so disgusting, dude. So disgusting. That spot made me sick to my stomach. Like, that's beast, I guess, to do something like that. That's like up there with Tommy Dreamer drinking his own tobacco spit nasty. Like, ugh. But Rich Swann hits a really dope cutter on the ramp. He was thrown into the ropes, and they had the old cutter or the ramp that went like this, and you can drop down to the floor on the bottom. And he does like the backflip spring off of it and hits the cutter on Sami Callihan. Beautifully done. Rich Swann is someone who is one of my favorite performers. I really enjoy him in the ring. Kudos to Rich Swann for hitting that spot perfectly. Sami Callihan hits a pile driver on the guardrail after doing a grapefruit claw on Rich Swann, and he freaking I thought he was done after that. I mean, who survives a pile driver on the guardrail that he had set up between the apron and another like set of stairs? Absolutely nuts. So after that, Sami Callihan hits it. He brings him back in the ring. We get a near fall. He kicks out. After that, we see the Lego spot. And they always say, have you ever stepped on a Lego before? Yes. Yes, we all have stepped on Legos before, and they hurt like hell. So instead of busting out thumbtacks, they bring out the big red Lego box. I'm sure people who were kids had it. And they pop it open. Legos are all laid out. So they're going back and forth to who's going to get slammed through the Legos. And after that, we see Sami Callihan use powder to throw it in Rich Swann's face. And he gets pile drove on top of the Legos. After Callihan had just went through him as well. And we get a kick out from Rich Swann. Unbelievable. I thought it was over after that. A pile driver, from the second rope, and he kicked out. So after that, Sami Callihan goes to the outside. He picks up a barbed wire baseball bat. Something you just don't carry around at the ringside area. He grabs the baseball bat, brings it into the ring. Rich Swann gets control of it, and eventually he gets locked into a crossface with the barbed wire baseball bat getting raked across the top of his forehead, and Sami Callihan has no choice but to tap out. Not the ending I was expecting, but a really good match. Sami Callihan continues to deliver each and every time. So if you guys have not watched him wrestle since Solomon Crow or before this, I'm telling you, Sami Callihan is one of the better guys you need to watch. I thought last year his match with Pentagon was one of the best matches for Impact Wrestling. Overall, gave this a grade of a B. Very well done. Next, we get Tessa Blanchard versus Gail Kim. Yeah, that was a nasty finish. Definitely. Hey, what's going on, KC Classic? I hear you with the huh? Tessa Blanchard versus Gail Kim. Good wrestling in this match. No complaints. They had the entrances on. Gail Kim's husband is ringside. Tessa Blanchard's father, if you don't know, former Four Horsemen, check out his stuff. He's ringside. They drum this up. Big feeling, big match feeling for it. Gail Kim moved around the ring very well in this match. This was an amazing end for this one. Dude, really good stuff. So after this match, she's moving around very well. Gail Kim, as soon as I wrote this down that Gail Kim was moving very well, she gets thrown off the ramp, off of the side, and she took a really nasty bump to the floor. But Gail Kim knows what she's doing. She's out there. She did really well. Gets back into the ring. She gets the eat defeat, pun intended on that too, by the way, guys, if you never noticed that. She gets a near fall on it. And once that happened after that near fall, it reminded me so much of the matches with her and Awesome Kong. Like, if you've never seen that, to me, that was the real beginning of people showing like they care about women's wrestling. And those two could main event an Impact show back in the day. So shout out to Awesome Kong too. I just want to give some props to her. But this chemistry with Tessa Blanchard was on point. Like, this was up there with the Kong chemistry. Eventually, we get a code breaker from the top rope from Tessa Blanchard, and Gail Kim was far away. Like, she was more than half the distance across the ring. Tessa Blanchard flies across the top rope and hits that code breaker on her. She goes for the pinfall. She kicks out, and then after the kick out, she locks her in kind of like a bank statement, but she has her arm across her, similar to like $1 Million Dream, and she's wrenching back. And while she's wrenching back on her, it's there's nowhere to go. Like, Gail Kim gets to the rope, she flips over and out, and she's like, no, you're staying in the submission. Gail Kim taps out. Another tap out victory. Give this match a grade of a B as well. These two embrace after the match. Did Tessa turn babyface? It feels like it, but we won't know until we watch Impact Wrestling the next time, because this could have just been a good moment. I feel like she did, but not sure. And Casey Classic, when you come back to this, the grapefruit claw happened in that match. That's why I had to do that, because some people are probably wondering what that is. That's the classic Ric Flair move that you used to see in all the old video games. Type it in if you want to know. So, good match between them. We get the embrace after the match. Tessa Blanchard, big things. That was a very big victory for her. I think we could see her back in that Knockouts championship picture again. And I could see them doing potentially maybe a triple threat match or a four-way with her, Madison Rayne, Taya Valkyrie, and Jordynne Grace. I could see it happening again. We get to a promo with Brian Cage. He's backstage saying he's finally going to win the belt tonight. Tonight's the night for him. And we get highlights of this entire feud. It's been going on for several months now. For the Impact Wrestling World Championship, this match will have Lance Storm as the special guest referee, as Brian Cage has been screwed by Johnny Bravo, who turned out to be working with Johnny Impact, and he's officiated all their other matches at this point. So I was hyped for this match, and I really feel like these two haven't had the match that connected, and I thought this would be the match that would help out and make them actually connect. But something went wrong in the beginning of this. We saw a really dope Spanish fly off of that ramp onto the floor, and I swear to you, there was so much talking that the cameras picked up. Something went wrong. Like, I think Brian Cage got hurt at some point in this match, and they were trying to talk about it, and he was letting Lance Storm know that they're going to have to adjust some things. Lance Storm being the referee wasn't random, because Impact is based in Toronto. King, I know what that's from. This match was good, but too many shenanigans. Like I said, I think something went wrong, and they had to adjust and add in more shenanigans, because Cage seemed hurt. He couldn't do his finish the proper way. We'll get into it, though. Like I said, this match was off. After the match, though, we get a surprise, too. So, during the finish, his finisher is like that Steiner screwdriver, where he like has you up for a suplex, but then he drops you into a tombstone sit-out pile driver. He couldn't do it. Like, it looked very Michinoku driver-like, and he just kind of was like, okay, done. This was the worst match of the night, in my opinion. But I put a little, how do I want to put this, asterisk next to this, because I think something happened. Brian Cage looked like he got hurt. He was busted open in this match in the end. He gets the belt, though. He celebrates after defeating Johnny Impact. And he got to beat up, he powerbombed Taya Valkyrie at one point. He beat up Johnny Bravo. He's defeated everybody. He's in the ring celebrating, and then Michael Elgin's music hits. He's from Ring of Honor in New Japan. If you don't know, the man is a beast. So Elgin comes out there, and he basically is looking like he wants to challenge for the belt, and he winds up doing a spin-out powerbomb on Cage, submitting that he wants to be the next challenger for the belt. I think this is going to add to the Impact Wrestling roster. Like I said, they need names that people recognize and know, so this isn't bad for them. And in a time where pro wrestling is thriving, Impact Wrestling making these relationships is a good thing. So I don't have an issue with this. We'll see what happens with it. I did give this match a grade of a C-. Hopefully we get to see something a little bit more next time from them, but we'll see. After that, we get Impact Plus being pushed again for this Wednesday. So if you guys are interested in signing up for Impact Plus, this Wednesday, sign up for it, and you guys can have it and check out some of the legendary classic matches and some of the content that they'll have up there now. Also, we get announced, Slammiversary 17 is going to be in Dallas, Texas, July 7th. So if you are from Dallas, you are going to probably want to try to get tickets to this show. Slammiversary is always really good, and like I said, about a year or two ago, after I stopped watching Impact Wrestling, Slammiversary show is what brought me back into the fold, and I was like, hey, Impact Wrestling isn't so bad. And I started reviewing it again, so I like it. Let's see what happens at Slammiversary this year. We get Conan backstage with LAX cutting a promo on what's going to happen and all the drama that's led up to this tag team match. I can't even describe half of it, guys. So the main event is for the Impact Wrestling Tag Team titles in a Full Metal Mayhem match. That's no DQ, street fight, whatever you want to call it. So it's the Lucha Bros who are the champions defending the belts against LAX, and Conan is in their corner. We know these teams have amazing chemistry. We've seen them wrestle several times for the pay-per-views, and they are finally getting to main event here. That is amazing. I just saw Pentagon and Fénix recently at a local show here at ESW. These guys are kicking on a full blast right now. Like, they're ready for AEW. Can't wait to see them versus the Young Bucks. They're everywhere. And LAX and them have great chemistry, and you guys need to check out this match, in my opinion. Now, we saw a lot of kickouts of things that I was just like, whoa, that's beast. We saw people getting stomp package pile driver through chairs, kickouts. But let's get to the finish of this, guys, because you're going to see people going through tables, chair shots, ultimate lucha wrestling with craziness. This was a street fight. Really good stuff. And afterwards, Santana got a Pentagon driver through a chair, and he was able to kick out once again. The finish comes, though, with there's a ladder set up in the ring, and they have a table as well. The table gets thumbtacks all laid across it, and on the outside, we had just had a spot where a Spanish fly had occurred. Curtis Brown, thank you for subscribing, my man. I appreciate that. Helps out tremendously with the channel, and you are getting me towards my 500 subscriber goal before Double or Nothing. So thank you, sir. And they did a Spanish fly on the outside. I almost thought Fénix wasn't going to get the full rotation, but thank goodness he like tucked his head back and just took it flat back. Fénix did his thing there, and we have all these spots. So people are laid out. Time goes by. They're both climbing the ladder. Pentagon looks like he is going to suplex Santana through the table, but the camera did a good job of catching this. He actually goes into his shorts, and they wear like the pants with the cargo pockets, and he pulls out a fork, and he ends up stabbing Pentagon right in the head with the fork. And afterwards, Ortiz comes in, power bombs him through the table with the tacks. He gets pinned. 1, 2, 3. LAX end up winning back their Impact Wrestling Tag Team Championships. These are two of the best performers that Impact Wrestling currently has. They need to do everything to try to keep these guys. One of the best tag teams in pro wrestling. And at first, when they first brought them out and I saw them, I did not like LAX as a new group. Like, I was like, oh, these aren't the original LAX guys. I don't like this. But these guys have won me over. So if you've never seen Santana and Ortiz perform, check them out, especially if they come to your local area. And Connor, I agree with you. I thought that was match of the night. I gave it a B+ as well. David says, Slammiversary is usually the best show. Both need to join AEW. That's just me, though. I hear you. Sean Harrington says, incredible match. Seems like it was somewhat of a curtain call for the Lucha Bros leaving for AEW full-time. I don't know what their AEW situation is. Maybe they're going to still be back. I don't know. But if this is their last time in Impact Wrestling, shout out to the Lucha Brothers. They did a hell of a job putting it on. King says it was a 5-star match. We got people chanting LAX. Oh, yeah. Now, overall show grade for this show, guys. I had to give it a B-. I thought some of the matches early on were kind of there. They did their thing. But they just didn't have enough promotion behind it. The matches that they did promote, though, delivered. So those 5 to 6 matches that they had that I knew about beforehand on my preview, they did a really good job with that, and I thought, hell yeah, good stuff. Overall show B-. That's not anything bad. Is it the show of the year? I think that NXT TakeOver has it a little bit more. I saw that being tossed around in the chat earlier. I still think NXT TakeOver has been the best show so far, but was Impact Wrestling bad or the worst show? Absolutely not. That's why I'm telling people you have to go and check out Impact Wrestling. Especially if you guys haven't watched in a while, check out that Slammiversary show. July 6th, go get your money, pay for Slammiversary. You guys won't regret it. I'm telling you, TNA has been delivering, Impact Wrestling. Woo, I caught myself. Impact Wrestling has been delivering. I hope you guys check it out. But I'm going to let the live chat ask some questions real quick before we get ready to get up out of here. Tag team wrestling draws. WWE needs to learn. King, I agree. Looking forward to Impact versus House of Glory. Yes, shout out to my man JD from New York and House of Glory and Amazing Red and the crew. I know Amazing Red just retired, so sad to hear that. But you know what? If that's what he wanted to do, good for him. Agreed. The Revival versus the Usos could be a big draw match. That has potential. Definitely event of the year. Pointing up. David B says, Sean, you mean Code Red? Yes. Hey, David B, thank you for subscribing, my man. I appreciate you. Cody's promo, what did you think of it? That promo today was really good, I thought. AEW's got a lot of hype behind them. Like I said, if I'm Impact Wrestling, I'm looking at trying to join up with whoever I can, even if that means joining up with the NWA, putting these shows on together. Wrestling needs to do this right now. You need to unify and unite because right now, WWE's the big dog. How can we take market share away from the WWE? Their fans are unhappy. Their performers are unhappy. It's time for you to try to get a piece of that pie. Think of wrestling as one big pie. WWE has the biggest piece, and you're trying to get an eighth of a piece. Instead, now that their people aren't wanting their half of the pie, you need to go in there and try and take some of it. Impact Wrestling needs to reach out to some of these unhappy superstars once they get the release, the Luke Harpers, Sasha Banks, whoever they can. They may want to go there. AEW can't take everybody. So you may have to go to an Impact Wrestling, a Ring of Honor. You may have to just go on the independents for a little while. Wrestling is thriving, so I hope people see that. And like I said, Cody promo, loved it. Very interesting to see, and I love how they're doing a lot of the stuff to build up for Double or Nothing. And I will do a review on that show as well if you guys haven't checked it out. NXT is getting a Money in the Bank ladder match. I saw a picture of that in my Everything Pro Wrestling Facebook group. Link in the description. Yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't know if it's true or not. We'll have to see. I think AEW should be by themselves, to be honest, right now. I don't think you're going to survive like that. You got to work together at this point. Impact could benefit from an AEW alliance. I agree, Sean Harrington. Impact just became partners with Booker T's promotion last week. That is a very smart thing, David. I agree. Impact should partner up with these House of Glories, Booker T's promotion. And these aren't just like independents. Like these are the top independents in the United States. So yeah, I want to see more of that. I didn't know that. That sounds cool. Yes. So they're going to have a show as well with Booker T down in Houston, Texas. So I think that's why we're seeing the Dallas, Texas show as well. And these guys are going to eventually get signed and go to Impact Wrestling. Sasha Banks to Impact, chill. Impact partnership always ends up going bad. Jesus, this is under different management, though. It's not Dixie Carter anymore. It's Don Callis running it for Anthem. It's a different group. On Twitch, yes. Impact's been on Twitch, guys. If you want to check it out, give them a follow. Type in Impact Wrestling on Twitch. Also, I have a Twitch channel now, too. Just type in Everything Pro Wrestling. Or, excuse me, it's EPW Show is my handle on there. So, check me out. Poland Spring, please feel free to give me a sponsorship. Impact's partnership with AAA has been very beneficial. Yes, and look at the Lucha Underground stuff. I think people like Marty the Moth Martinez, who I interviewed on my podcast, those guys should be signed by Impact. They're using Melissa Santos. Like, there is a lot of good things happening. Having Lance Storm in there before. I know some people were saying boring and why was Lance Storm in there. Lance Storm has a school which he trained Brian Pillman Jr., Taya Valkyrie, and several others at. These are relationships you need to build upon. I'm happy with Impact Wrestling. Overall, guys, what did you think? Thumbs up show? Thumbs down? Let me know before we get ready to get out of here. And while you guys give me the answers to that, I just want to ask, thank you so much for everybody who was in here tonight. I greatly appreciate it. Sean Harrington, yes, Lance Storm is also best friends with Don Callis. King says thumbs up. Lazarus says Lance Storm is so underrated. I agree. Check out some of his ECW stuff. David B says House of Glory Code Red on Twitch, I mean. Jesus says Pillman should join AEW. He might one day. You never know. Sean Harrington, he did a fine job tonight. Loved the show. Good to hear that, brother. If you guys are in here and you're not subscribed to the channel, do me a favor, click that subscribe button right now. Your name will probably flash across the screen. I'll give you a shout out. Also, I appreciate everybody in here chatting and talking. Jesus, thank you for the EPW chance, bro. I'm trying to make it. I want to be big like JD, Solid Monster, and I need support from the community. The wrestling community is one of my favorites, so thank you guys so much. Shout out to Jesus De Leon, David B. We also had Connor in here. We had Matt, who just saw Endgame. Josh Burton from Everything College Basketball. Check out his podcast, folks. We had some good back and forth in here with King. KC Classic joined in probably at the wrong time when I was talking about the grapefruit claw that occurred on the show. Connor was in here, and Sean Harrington, shout out to you, man. You've been joining a lot lately too. I appreciate your thoughts and comments. Very smart pro wrestling fan. Hey, what's going on with Johnny Stroud? Yes. Keep him in your thoughts and prayers, folks. I don't want to get into too many details without his permission, but keep our good friend Johnny Stroud in your thoughts and prayers at Everything Pro Wrestling. Endgame was amazing. I agree with that. Thunder Rosa and Eva Lisa to Impact. It could happen. Al Snow, OVW is now partners with Impact. Impact starting to build back up. I'm telling you guys. It's the one organization that has stayed around. Thank you, Jesus, for sending prayers out to him. But thank you guys so much for checking me out. If you haven't clicked that like button one last time, do me a favor and let's elbow drop. Let's elbow drop that like button for me today. So make sure you click it. And if you're watching this afterwards, leave a comment down below on what you thought about the show. Please don't be the person bashing Impact Wrestling in there, because I'm not going to respond to you. But go in there, tell me what you thought. If you watched it, let me know what was your favorite match of the night. Marvel to join AEW confirmed. EPW. Thank you guys so much. I'm getting out of here. I will be back tomorrow with a Monday Night Raw review. Hopefully these shows get better. But we'll try and check it out. I appreciate you guys. Peace.